Hey YouTube, it's me, King Nazru, and we got our first video suggestion coming straight from the Man of Steel himself, Clark Kent. So, his video suggestion is, which do I think is better, the Star Wars trilogy or the X-Men trilogy? That's a bit tricky. It's been a while since I've watched both. Uh, we'll have to analyze it first. With Star Wars, it's I did like how it managed to blend in both science fiction and religious aspects, which for some reason a lot of movies are little bit afraid to do because they feel that they should either stick to one or the other. This side will be either pro-religion, this side will be adamantly pro-science or whatever. And that's really not necessary. And top it all off, Marvel, I know they've done it in the comics, and I didn't like it there, is that they try to rationalize that magic, such as Thor's powers, which are allegedly magic, or originally started off as magic. They're trying to make it seem that it's not magic, but just super science, just some kind of version of science that we humans haven't fully understood yet, which is, I feel, is kind of disappointing and very limiting, because there's no reason why you can't have a fictional world or fictional universe for that matter where you can combine those two elements of science and magic without them saying they're one and the same. But back to Star Wars before I continue to digress. I like that part. Uh, Now, despite it not being original, it would take me a whole entire video to explain that. Uh, there were some pretty good stories with the interesting characters such as Luke Skywalker, the boy who came from humble beginnings but went on this great adventure and became this great hero. And it turns out he's an even greater hero because he's related to Anakin Skywalker, aka Darth Vader, who was the chosen one. And we got his sister, Princess Leia, which brings back the odd topic that the fact that she kissed his she kissed her own brother. Granted, she didn't know that was her brother, but still, nonetheless, that still adds a bit of an incest joke. But let's just focus on the characters. We got Han Solo, the uh, devil may care, uh, what's the best way to space cowboy? Yeah, he's pretty much the space cowboy, that more or less. R2D2, uh, C3PO, being this effeminate, proper gentleman robot, and they're all how all their personalities blend together. What might seem dysfunctional actually works well together, because Luke, uh, goes off with Obi-Wan Kenobi to uh, to save this princess, and it helps him broaden his horizons, which he wanted was an adventure, and he accepts his great destiny. Han Solo, just being a man who looks out for himself, thanks to Princess Leia, actually learns to care more about other things besides money or whatever personal gains, and so on and so forth. And we got the opposite side with the Galactic Empire, with Darth Vader being this imposing threat, and Emperor Palpatine being the conniving mastermind who's pulling the strings from the shadows. And there's also a lot of philosophical things, such as what ties us together, what I mean, what's the proper balance between good and evil? Uh, uh, should our own desires uh, go into conflict with our responsibilities? Those sort of things. Um, Now, granted, some of these themes didn't get executed quite well in the prequel films, which is why I don't like episode 1 and 2 for me, along with other reasons. But surprisingly, I like Star Wars Episode 3. And don't hold me to that, Clark, but I probably might do a video explaining why I actually like Star Wars Episode 3. So, we've been about like over 6 minutes talking about Star Wars. Let's talk about X-Men. Now, with the X-Men, hmm, yeah, it's also pretty good. The X-Men trilogy before it became expanded to its X-Men universe. That's pretty much what Bryan Singer's trying to do now with Days of Future Past and the up with the future X-Men Apocalypse. It tore down some of the more outlandish things in the X-Men comics, which probably would not have worked in the movies. Grant, and as much as I have said things like I would prefer that the original Spider-Man trilogy was more faithful to the comics, and that's why I prefer the Amazing Spider-Man, among other reasons, as opposed to the Raimi trilogy. I do understand and respect the fact that you're going to have to change a few things to make it seem more plausible within a movie because some things won't exactly work. And they just tore it down to what it's basically about. X-Men are the children of the Atom, aka mutants, who are highly evolved human beings who have extraordinary powers, and because humanity fears them for it, they are met with extreme prejudice, and they deal with that prejudice in a different way. Whereas the Brotherhood of Mutants tries to take it more offensively and tries to uh, get rid of humanity, or as in the first movie, convert humanity into mutants, so that mutants would reign supreme. The X-Men fight to stop the Brotherhood of Mutants and promote equality between humans and mutants. Now, I did like that is what basically done for the X-Men. But if I were to make any complaints, it would be that Bryan Singer made some decisions that I didn't quite like, such as giving all the X-Men members black leather jumpsuits, which just makes them all look kind of generic. Doesn't have the, even though in the comics they had their own various styles in their outfits, such as Wolverine's traditional yellow and blue, or sometimes in different versions yellow and brown outfit. Uh, Jean Grey's was a bit more traditional to the standard outfit of the X-Men, which was had this color scheme of blue and yellow. So, although that might be contradicting myself in that, but that has a little bit more variety than just black leather. And and I probably would have understood this more if Bryan Singer had a better reason. His reason was that he felt that we wouldn't be able to accept uh, the possibility of the X-Men looking like how they are in the comics, which is which turns out to be not true, as in the case of X-Men First Class, which is a movie that I really liked, and uh, the alternate scene in X-Men Wolverine. I mean, not X-Men Wolverine. The Wolverine, where Wolverine opens up a suitcase, I believe, and he finds his traditional comic costume. So, and that was not criticized or anything. So, clearly Bryan Singer is wrong. And and yet, despite this knowledge, he continues to change it. Which Days of Future Past is just going to have, instead of Wolverine in this traditional costume, he's just going to be in a black leather outfit with a yellow stripe, pretty much signifying that he thinks that's all we can handle. And as for Quicksilver, yes, I'm aware about that. And the less we talk about that, the better. So, this also plays into my second problem. Um, his constant obsession with Wolverine. All the movies is pretty much unanimous, except with the X-Men First Class. It's all pretty much centered around Wolverine. Um, First movie is about Wolverine getting along with this group and helping them save the world. Second movie is about Wolverine figuring out his past and whether he should continue pursuing this or continue with his family and in the X-Men. X-Men 3, him trying to stop Jean Grey uh, when she became the Dark Phoenix and trying to stop this war between the mutants and the humans that are trying to more or less cure them because this is the ultimate offense. They feel that mutants are a disease and they need to be cured, so they're less than people now. X-Men Origins Wolverine, that's pretty much self-explanatory. So yeah, a lot. Even though Bryan Singer wasn't directing some of that stuff, he still was kind of producing those things, and this plays into my point that I believe Bryan Singer has a man crush on Hugh Jackman, aka Wolverine. As for those who don't know, Bryan Singer has more or less admitted that he is in fact gay. So, and we can pretty much see these uh, hints because think about it. Every X-Men movie, we see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine half naked or in traditional black leather that shows muscle tones and whatnot. Now, granted, he can get away with Wolverine being half naked because he tends to do that sometimes when he goes feral, but my point still stands since he just admitted that he is gay. But regardless of that, I still like the X-Men movies. Liked X-Men 1, X-Men 2. X-Men 3, however, was not bad, but not great. I did like the scale of the events, how it was all leading up to this big uh, climactic battle, and a lot of things were at stake. Mutants being cured, characters dying. Actually, that part I kind of have mixed feelings about because they killed off the main cast of some of the main cast of the X-Men, like uh, Cyclops and Jean Grey, and they technically killed Professor Xavier before he used his mental powers uh, re- to possess another body and reshape his body or something, whatever. Let's not focus on that. It's a little convoluted. On the but on the negative side, let's see what's the negatives. Well, I'm having a little hard time thinking of the negative. Uh, let's see, what's a good? I do think that the, I do think one negative about X-Men 3 is like I said, it goes a little overboard with the killing rate, and there's also a bit. I also think that they didn't do. I didn't like how they handled some of the things that the characters did, such as uh, Magneto up and abandoning Mystique when she becomes cured of her mutant powers, which I can understand since he views mutants superior to humans, but to do that, to just abandon someone, not to offer them a least bit of care, like take them back to the base, try to figure out how to fix them back. Uh, uh, yeah, that kind of bugged me. And I also kind of dislike how they killed off Scott Summers so quickly. I also didn't think he didn't need to be killed at all. We could have also gotten some more development out of him and his shock to Jean Grey coming back as the Phoenix, who was a who, as opposed to being a celestial being, was just his untapped mental power that Jean Grey had, and it was manifested itself as a split personality. But I guess in all things, it's not that big a deal because, according to Bryan Singer, Days of Future Past is supposed to retcon some things about X-Men 3. So that also might also debase X-Men 3 to some points because with all its stakes, it's kind of being made somewhat irrelevant. But to the final verdict, which one is better, X-Men 3 or the Star Wars original trilogy? I'm going to have to say the original Star Wars trilogy was a lot better. Mainly because, uh, despite I saying it's not original in the slightest, it does have it's its own source material and thus it's not technically changing unnecessary things like X-Men, the X-Men trilogy did, despite it being good. And um, it's also dealing with more deeper situations as opposed to X-Men just dealing with oppression, which is all fine and dandy, but Star Wars is dealing with more with other things, with science, religion, politics, uh, various things like that. And I have to say that it's also better because all three movies are of good quality, whereas the first two X-Men movies were good, and X-Men 3 was kind of So yeah, that's my thoughts on the topic. I would like to thank Clark Kent for the topic, and next we're going to get a 2-for-1 special on the next video as an apology to my good friend Shikaru since I missed his birthday.